A driver was fired for saving a life, not knowing the man he saved was a millionaire's father. One man, one heart attack, and a life-changing moment. John was just an ordinary ambulance driver, but one brave decision set him on an entirely new path. Could it all have started with a simple hat? Get ready to dive into this inspiring story. John, a 35-year-old ambulance driver, worked for a private healthcare institution. However, as the hospital's financial and administrative problems worsened, it was decided to relocate to a smaller building and operate as a simple clinic. With this transformation, John was laid off. This sudden change turned his life upside down. He had purchased an apartment on an installment plan, relying on the security of a stable job. Now, he couldn't afford to remain unemployed, with significant debt to pay every month. The severance pay he received from the hospital was only enough to last him a few weeks. Finding a new job proved far more challenging than he had anticipated. Public hospital applications took forever, while private hospitals were barely hiring new staff. Desperate, John began searching for other driving jobs. Time was running out, and he had to evaluate his options carefully and accept the first job he could find. Eventually, he came across an advertisement for a personal driver for a wealthy businessman. Among the applicants, John's experience and professionalism stood out, and he was hired quickly. However, being a private driver was far more difficult than he expected.
No one was kind.
As an ambulance driver, he had been part of a team working together to save lives in high-pressure situations. Now, he took orders for trivial reasons, endured frequent scolding, and stayed on constant standby. The job wore him down, both physically and mentally. With each passing day, John missed his old job and the sense of teamwork it brought. One day, John reluctantly went to work, feeling more miserable than ever. As he stood by the sleek black car, his boss emerged from his opulent villa, finishing breakfast. Seeing John, the man smirked. "You know why we gave you that hat?" "So everyone knows who you are," he said. John clenched his jaw, suppressing his frustration, and put on the cap. The man continued, his tone sharp and condescending. "Do you have any idea how many people I have in black suits like yours? That damn hat is the only thing that shows you're the driver." Swallowing his pride, John forced himself to reply, "Of course, sir," and opened the car door. The man slid into the back seat, muttering, "Apparently, standing next to the car isn't obvious enough." Climbing into the driver's seat, John asked flatly, "Where to, sir?" "A family friend's charity event," the man snapped, before rattling off the address. Moments later, he became absorbed in a phone call, his tone switching between curt and falsely polite. As John navigated through the bustling streets, his thoughts circled back to the hated hat perched on his head. He loathed it, a constant reminder of his subordinate role. It had been only 2 weeks since he started this job, and already his patience was wearing thin. Still, John thought of his mounting debts, the mortgage he couldn't afford to miss, and the promises he'd made to himself. "I can deal with a damn hat," he muttered internally, gripping the steering wheel tighter. For now, he had no other choice. Stopping at a red light, John heard his boss cursing at the traffic signal. Every sharp word grated on his nerves, but he kept silent. When the light turned green, he drove on, scanning the road ahead. Passing a snow-blanketed park, he noticed a man clutching his chest before collapsing into the snow. John's heart raced as he recognized the signs of a heart attack. Without hesitation, John pulled the car to the side of the road and jumped out. From the back seat, his boss exploded in anger. "What the hell are you doing? Get back in the car, you idiot. We're going to be late." John ignored him, rushing toward the fallen man. Years of emergency work had honed his instincts, and he immediately began performing first aid. The man's pulse was weak and erratic, and he was unresponsive. John started chest compressions while shouting for someone to call an ambulance. His boss stormed out of the car, furious. "What are you doing? Call a damn ambulance and get back in the car. Do you know how important this event is?" John snapped. Without breaking his rhythm, he yanked the hated cap off his head and threw it at his boss. "This man is having a heart attack. What matters more, your event or a human life?" A small crowd had gathered, watching in stunned silence. The wealthy man scoffed, retreated to the car, and shouted, "You're fired," before speeding off. John didn't flinch. He stayed focused, continuing the chest compressions with unwavering determination. Minutes later, sirens broke the tension as an ambulance arrived. Paramedics took over, and John stepped back, breathing heavily. Watching the professionals work, John felt a mix of relief and exhaustion. The weight of losing his job hit him, but he knew he'd done the right thing. As the ambulance prepared to leave, John noticed a phone on the ground. He picked it up, realizing it belonged to the man he'd just helped. Unable to return it immediately, he decided to take it to the hospital later. He would find a way forward, as he always did. What happened next changed John's life forever, but that's a story for another day. If you enjoyed this inspiring tale, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Where are you listening from? Drop a comment below and share your story. Let's connect.